that is markets pulling back amid escalating trade tensions between the U.S. and China. Beijing is retaliating against President Trump's hike on steel and aluminum imports and brand new tariffs on 128 products from China. China is retaliating on 128 U.S. products. Starting today, China will raise its import duties by 15 to 25% on American pork, fruit, wine, aluminum, and other commodities. Joining me right now is White House Principal Deputy Press Secretary Raj Shah. Raj, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning, Maria. Thanks for having me on.
And we should point out that the Treasury is coming up with its list of specifically what goods will be facing tariffs from China. And they're also coming out with lists of restrictions that China is going to face when investing in America. When should we expect that list?
Well, the Treasury will provide the details regarding that list. But with respect to China, look, the president wants free, fair, and reciprocal trade with China. But that hasn't been the U.S.-China trade relationship for the past several decades. So he took action under 232 to defend our aluminum and steel industries, which are essential to national security. And he's taken action under 301 to defend U.S. intellectual property. So the United States is going to defend our interests, going to defend American workers and businesses. If the Chinese government uses that as a pretext for further unfair trade practices, we think that that's very unfortunate. But the president's going to continue to work with China, with President Xi, to ensure that we have a free, fair, and reciprocal trade arrangement with the Chinese, and we're lowering our trade deficit.
You know, I think it's really interesting that China is not only stealing our intellectual property and putting all these restrictions on foreigners investing in China, but they're also investing in infrastructure around the world to get key spots on the sea line and then creating and building military bases at those places. So do we have a sense of what China is trying to do with all of these new military bases that they're building?
Well, I don't know exactly what China is up to with respect to its foreign policy, both with respect to building military bases within China proper and its engagements around the world. But, you know, the United States is rebuilding our military. We have secured $700 billion in the recent omnibus bill to help rebuild our ships, to rebuild our military bases, to help increase troop pay, and ensure that the United States has the strongest and most powerful fighting force, continues to have the most powerful fighting force in the world to pursue our interests around the world. But, we really don't need to be engaged in that kind of talk when it comes to China, because again, the president has a great relationship with President Xi. Secretary Mnuchin, other members of the administration have been talking to our counterparts. They have expressed a willingness to work with the United States and reduce our trade deficit, which is something we really want to do. It stands at several $100 billion. They've talked about a $100 billion reduction. We want to see more. We want that trade deficit to be zeroed out, because when the United States can compete at a level playing field, American workers and businesses can compete with anybody around the world, including those in China.
Yeah, no, I totally understand, and I think everybody gets that about China. But I'm glad you brought up the omnibus, because there's a lot of upset over this spending bill, Raj. You know it. The president actually considered not signing it. We understand the need for military money and the need to pump up the defense, our defenses, after they got pummeled by sequestration. But did you have to agree to so much else? In a $47 trillion budget, they could not come up with $25 billion to build the wall. No mention of sanctuary cities. Money spent on Planned Parenthood. How do you explain all of this?
Well, it is an imperfect deal. The president said as much when he signed it. The bill contains too much domestic spending. We think that Chuck Schumer and the Democrats should not have held the military, should not have held our border security and border patrol hostage to domestic spending.
But they did, and the president signed it. So definitely, Ann Coulter called Schumer President Schumer this weekend. He got the upper hand on that, didn't he?
I wouldn't agree with that. I think that $700 billion to rebuild our military is essential. The United States must protect our national security, even if Chuck Schumer doesn't care about that. We need to rebuild our military. We needed the $700 billion to increase troop pay, to rebuild our weapons systems and other things that are essential. This is what Secretary Mattis, what the president's generals, what our national security team have said are essential to preserving the United States national security and our preeminence in terms of the military around the world. But yes, it did come at a cost, one that we didn't like with respect to domestic spending. But the president, his solemn and most important duty is to protect the national security and the safety of the American people. And he did just that in signing that bill.
All right, so when do deficits become a priority? When does out-of-control spending make it to the priority list for the president, Raj? Let me ask you that way, because now we know, given all of this spending, we're looking at trillion-dollar deficits from here on out, and we know that the money being spent in terms of deficits is really not about domestic spending, but about the entitlements. So is the president considering making any changes to things like the Social Security program or Medicaid?
Well, he has introduced, both in his budget and in the health care bill that was backed in 2017, a series of reforms to Medicaid that cut spending by several $100 billion, block granted the program to states, and allowed them to make more spending decisions on how to best care for indigent individuals in their own states. Yeah, but you got a big
thumbs down on that from John McCain, you know.
That's right. But look, the president's actually been talking about reforms in Congress to help us pass our agenda, like ending the filibuster. The president wants to see the filibuster, and he wants to see not a handful of Democrats, maybe 10 Democrats, hold up all action in the United States Senate. That's a big problem that we continue to see thwarting this president's agenda, and he wants to see it end. So we're going to continue working with Congress to get this president's agenda passed. We are frustrated with some of the domestic spending that had to be a part of the omnibus. The president's going to continue to work, continue to push for both rebuilding the military, but also taming deficits.